The Roland Juno-106 was one of the most popular polyphonic synthesizers from the 1980s. They were simple to use, they had lots of preset storage, and they sounded great. They're definitely vintage collectible synthesizers, and because there were so many made, today's prices aren't too crazy. We recently made a road trip to collect dozens of broken keyboards, and we made it home with 6 of these Junos in various stages of repair. Some are obviously just going to be parts donors, but we're hoping we can put a few of them back together. A fully restored Juno will sell for pretty good money, and they will sell quick, if we can bring them back to life. Here at Syntaur, we live to bring old synthesizers back to life. We find vintage keyboards wherever we can, and our crew restores them back to their original splendor. We also supply parts to tens of thousands of customers all around the world so that they can restore and repair their own keyboards. At our shop in Texas, we have on hand parts for the synths used by pros from the 1960s all the way to today's brand new keyboards. Our inside and out knowledge has made us known as the Synth Wizards. So here's the stack of Juno-106 carcasses we got, so let's go through them and see what's good and what's not. We have a couple of them here that were just basically top panels. Those have just gone to parts. And we have 4 sort of complete units left. So let's start taking a look at each of these. So this one seems complete. We'll have to open up this one, but we have one good one there that's a good candidate for refurbishing. Number 2. Kind of beat up. Missing the main parts here. It should have a CPU board here, and it should have a voice board here. Both of the boards are missing on that one, so in order to rebuild this one, we'll need both of those circuit boards. This one's missing the same boards also. It does have the panel boards. It looks like these sliders are all broken. That's not going to be an easy one. This one looks pretty bad too. Well, the front panel of this one looks good. Yep. Someone's taken the boards out of all 3 of these. So we have one that's a good candidate for a refurb and 3 that are pretty iffy. We'll at least get some good parts out of these. Okay guys, here's the deal. We got 6 of these in the shop that we brought back from New York. Hoping to resurrect several of them. As it turns out, only one of them is going to be salvageable because the rest are missing some circuit boards. So, what I'm thinking is, alright, let's take one of these and maybe go all out on it. Customize it, do whatever we can to it to make it really tricked out. We're gonna pimp this Juno-106. So what I'm looking for is ideas on how we can do this. The Syntaur team threw out some pretty cool suggestions, some that were a little far out of the box and others that were quite possible. And our new Juno began to take shape.
I definitely like the idea of painting the panel, but as far as the wheel there.
Soon we had a definite direction in mind for a heavily customized classic synthesizer. While figuring out our Juno strategy, we had a customer bring in a Moog Prodigy that makes no sound and is missing some important parts. Even though we stopped taking on outside repair jobs over a year ago because we just don't have the time for it, I made an exception in this case. First of all, Robin is not only a good customer, but a great guy who often comes to the shop armed with breakfast tacos and other effective bribes. Secondly, he's bringing some keyboards to trade for the repair, and I can't pass up a good source of parts that are otherwise unobtainable. And thirdly, it's a Moog synthesizer that needs rescuing. I just can't say no to that. Not only is the Prodigy missing all of its knobs, it's also missing the emphasis potentiometer, which controls the filter resonance. This type of pot is no longer made, so we're going to have to get creative and figure out a way to make something else work. Also, Those Moog knobs are no longer made. We have a few in stock, but Robin needs 16 of them. So we're going to have to figure out a good alternative there. But the first step will be to get the electronics working so this thing starts making some noise. So we hand this one over to Joel, who is our electronics whiz kid, and I'm confident he can get this prodigy singing in short order. I wanted to make our Juno-106 really special, so we're going to make it do things that a regular Juno can't, and we're also going to give it a wicked new look. First off, we'll replace the 2-prong AC inlet, which uses an uncommon type of power cord, with a 3-prong grounded inlet, which uses a standard power cable. Next, we'll do a mod for an audio input, so that we can route an external signal through the Juno's silky chorus effect, allowing this Juno-106 to be used as a standalone chorus unit. We're also going to design and build a custom circuit which will cycle through the 8 programs in any bank, with its own speed control on the front panel. This will allow for some really cool effects that we'll demonstrate later. Finally, we're going to pimp this synth out, completely giving the front panel a new color scheme with chromed buttons and knobs, blue and purple LEDs and display, and a clear bender with blue lighting. It's going to look wickedly awesome. Once we figured out where we wanted to go with this project, then we had to start working on how to get there. And boy, it got complicated. We had to find a place that could chrome the plastic knobs and buttons for us, and that wasn't easy or cheap. But we finally found a place, cleaned the parts up, and shipped them off with a kiss and a prayer. Joel designed a custom circuit that will sweep through the Juno's patches, with a pot for speed control and an LED to show how fast the sweep is cycling. We built a prototype and tested the circuit on a breadboard, and after verifying that it works, and that it is very cool, Joel began building the final circuit board for this. Shaylin started designing and laying out the main panel, and because of the multitude of controls that need labeling, we decided that instead of repainting the panel, we'll get a vinyl wrap made, just like they make for cars. Even though we're breaking the budget, digitally printing the graphics onto vinyl lets us get as detailed as we want. So we're working with Marty, the graphic artist at the vinyl shop, and he had some really cool ideas of his own to add to the mix. But nothing can really move forward with this until we have the actual panel we'll use, with holes cut for the new patch sweep controls. I want those controls to match the rest of the panel, so we'll use a slide pot for the speed control and a spare Juno-106 panel button with a tack switch and an LED to match the other controls exactly. The button, LED, and tack switch have to be mounted onto a circuit board for this to work, and unfortunately there's absolutely no room on the panel board to add these things. But the Juno has a jack board just next to the panel board, and it has just enough room to mount this hardware. Putting the new controls here positions them just to the left of the existing controls, which is perfect. But to mount things onto this corner of the jack board, we'll have to drill some holes right through some traces on that circuit board. It seems crazy, but that doesn't scare us. We can go back and repair those traces later. But for now, we've got to at least get the button positioned so that Gerald can start cutting the steel front panel. It's a slow process, and it's got to be exactly right, or that panel is trashed. He makes a rectangular hole for the button, a hole for the LED, and a slot for the speed control slide pot. There are a few common issues that you might encounter if you buy a used Juno-106. Fortunately, most of them are pretty easy to deal with. First off, give the battery a check with a voltmeter. The battery is a coin cell with tabs that are soldered to the CPU board. Put the leads of the voltmeter on the 2 tabs, and you'll see how much juice the battery has left. It's a 3-volt battery, so if it's reading anything in the 2s or lower, it's time to desolder it and put another one in its place. Some people like to replace the stock battery with a battery holder so that the next round you can simply pop in a new battery without having to solder anything. Seems like overkill to me, since it's likely to be 10 years before you even have to worry about it again. Another common issue is dirty potentiometers, which causes scratchy response with the volume pot or with any of the sliders. And poor contact in the level switch on the back panel can cause the sound level to drop out intermittently or even completely. Taking care of all of this is a simple matter as long as you use the right stuff. We recommend Deoxit, and all it takes is a very brief spray and then a bit of exercising the pot or switch. Broken slide pots are also common on Juno-106s. Since it has all of these sliders poking up from the top panel, if anything knocks against the panel, it can snap the stem right off of a slide pot. And even though it looks like the stem might just push right back in and snap into place, it won't stay there. The potentiometer itself will need to be replaced, and that means removing the panel board and soldering in a new pot. The bender pokes up too, and it suffers the same problem. It can get broken right off if something smacks against it. Finally, the voice chips and the DCO chips inside the unit tend to fail after many years, due to the black epoxy coating slowly becoming conductive. The common fix was to remove the faulty chip, soak it in acetone for at least 24 hours, then gently pry away the black coating. We've had about a 50% chance of success doing that, and even the chips that do survive tend to be inconsistent, so the filter may sound somewhat different on each of the 6 voices. Fortunately, we have a great solution these days, and it comes from a Belgian company called Analog Renaissance. Jerowin, the Renaissance man, has reverse engineered the original Roland chip and built a recreation of it using modern components that are just not going to fail. We tested these against the original chips and the sound is dead on. You won't be able to tell the difference. This product is amazing. Jerowin has also recreated the DCO chip, the digitally controlled oscillator, which Roland also encased in that black epoxy.
So if you need any of those parts, just let us know. We have them and we'll get them out to you anywhere in the world.
We have a Juno-106 here that has a bad voice chip, so I can demonstrate what that can sound like. Now keep in mind that if you have a Juno-106 with a bad voice chip, it may be completely different because it can manifest itself in several different ways. Sometimes the note won't sound at all, so you'll get a dead key. Sometimes that note will play, but it'll hang on and it'll keep playing after you're done with it. In the case of this one, it's going to sound grungy and distorted. So now since the Juno is 6 voice polyphony, and we have 1 bad voice chip, we're going to notice it every 6 notes that I play. So I can play up the scale and we'll see that that every 6th note will be the bad voice chip playing. Bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can just play up the scale and you'll hear it sequentially every 6 notes. So I'm going to use kind of a whistling sound, and it makes the sound by cranking up the filter resonance really high. And so that's going to mean that any bad voice chips are really going to stand out. You can hear a little grunge in that voice there. You can hear a lot of grunge in that voice there. So this is the bad one we were hearing before, and we also have a secondary one that's going out as well. There's 1, and there's 2. So it looks like we're going to be changing out 2 voice chips on this one. One characteristic of the Juno sound is the Roland chorus effect. Let's take a look at how it fattens up even the most mundane of sounds. So I'm going to demonstrate the Juno without the chorus effect and with the chorus effect on a sound, just to see what kind of big difference it makes. Here's a sound straight without the chorus. And now we'll add the chorus in. You can tell it really makes a big difference. So it's going to be exciting to be able to run external audio through this and use the chorus effect also. To install the audio input mod, we're taking the patch shift jack on the back panel and disabling it from that circuit. We'll use that jack instead for the audio input. It's a fairly simple mod that will make the Juno a really cool outboard effects processor. Our new circuit that we're calling patch sweep is much more complicated. not only because we have to design a circuit from scratch, but also because it requires adding controls to the front panel. When the patch sweep is turned on, it will cycle rapidly through the 8 patches in whatever bank is selected. We're adding a button for turning this effect on and off, a slider for controlling the rate, and an LED that will blink to show the rate it sweeps through the patches. And we'll build a custom circuit board for this that we're going to mount underneath the key bed. Joel worked his magic on the Moog Prodigy, and after installing several new chips, a couple of transistors, a trim pot, and an emphasis pot, it's sounding great, and Robin can't wait to get his hands on it. We didn't have nearly enough of the original knobs, but we found that knobs from the Moog MG1 fit perfectly and even give the Prodigy a customized look.
It never sounded this good. The day I got it, it didn't sound this good. Oh man, you guys are wizards.
Kid.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Robin.
Appreciate it. Oh my gosh, you guys.
It was great to see Robin so excited with his Prodigy, but now we've really got to kick it into high gear to get this Juno-106 finished. The chromed knobs and buttons arrived, and they look stunning. Juno-106 button. Chrome and shiny. And with Marty working his magic, the panel design is mind-blowing.
Oh my god.
That's pretty wild, isn't it?
That is insane.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We still need to find stuff.
Man, that is going to look so cool.
But we're running way behind schedule, and that's when Murphy's Law starts kicking into high gear. Joel calls to say that his computer, with all the custom circuit design work, has met with an untimely death. It's going to take days to get a new setup going, and we can't start building the patch sweep board until he is back up and running.
Yeah, it's taken, all these little odds and ends are taking a while, but I think it's better to get it perfect and to, exactly the way Sam wants it.
It was so good it spit out money on the side.
Just when I was starting to get a little down, Marty called me in to view the vinyl print for the front panel, and it looked awesome. This Juno is going to look even better than what I've been dreaming of. After days of struggling to get the patch sweep board built, we finally get it hooked up to the Juno, and it sort of worked, sometimes.
Shoot you for even having the idea, or kill Joel just for thinking he could make that thing work.
It did work, so.
It works for 1 minute, then it goes crazy.
After waiting so long to get this final piece of the project installed, it's very frustrating to find out that what worked perfectly on the breadboard doesn't work correctly anymore.
Give him the card back, give him the whole damn keyboard, tell him don't bring it back until it works.
We found out that we were having some grounding issues, and we decided that the best solution was to modify the power supply board to feed the patch sweep its own juice. This did the trick, and Gerald got to work putting it all together. It was exciting to finally see it all assembled with the new front panel. All right. Did you know we could make it do that? Well, Gerald, now you can go home.
Yeah, right.
We'll let you go home now.
No, now I can have a nice New Year's without having to look at that thing again.
Oh, that thing is a beauty of a thing to look at. Isn't that sweet looking?
It is. It is beautiful.
Let's see how it does in the guitar. Ready?
We started this project out with a standard Juno-106, a great analog synthesizer from the 1980s. After a bit of repair and some extensive customizing, the final result is a stunning Juno-107. We call it that because it's one better than a 106. In addition to the wicked color scheme, chromed hardware, and lighted bender, the 107 has a grounded power inlet, 6 brand new voice chips, the ability to run external audio through the chorus effect, and our awesome patch sweep circuit. I was thinking that to really use the patch sweep effectively, you'd program 8 variations of a particular sound and save them to one bank. That way the sweep could sound like one program with some wild modulation. But it's really fun to just choose any random bank and see what you get. The results are unpredictable and can be pretty inspiring. Okay, Eddie's going to play some guitar, and we've got that routed through the audio input of the Juno-106, and let's see what it does to his guitar signal.
107, you mean?
107. For the audio input, I knew the chorus was going to sound good, but when Eddie played guitar through it, it sounded monstrous. I'm blown away by how much I like this Juno-107. It's a one-of-a-kind, and I'm really proud of how our team pulled this together. Our plan now is to auction it off and see if we can cover our expenses on it. But to be honest, I really want to keep it.